Welcome to another video lesson. This lesson is 8.6. We're going to be dealing with inequalities again today. Today we're writing inequalities and graphing them on a number line. Page 85 in your table of contents will be the title, Write and Graph Inequalities. It's a purple page that you have to just fold in half and glue on to page 85, so it will look like that when you're done. The first thing on the front cover, we're going to be asking ourselves a question and thinking about what are possible answers to this situation. So we're going to circle numbers that could be answers to this first situation. Jessica spent more than $5 at the arcade. That means the answers have to be bigger than 5. So I could circle 6, or 7, or 8, or 9, all the way across. I could keep going if my list was bigger numbers. But the most important thing is that if we're spending more than $5, we can't circle 5. It has to be greater than 5. The second situation is that there are less than 8 lemonade stands. 8 is where we're starting from, but we can't circle 8 because it has to be less than 8. So I'm going to circle all the numbers smaller than 8. So it's that idea first. I want us to understand that when we're dealing with inequalities, you could have more than one answer that fits that situation. Below that, there is a quick visual that I put on purpose on the bottom. This kind of gives us a quick visual of what we're going to be taking our notes on. So you can look at this afterwards and it'll make more sense. Let's go on the inside of the book next. In the inside cover on the left, there is a box that we're going to fill in first. And we're going to need to use keywords. In the previous video, we did a chart and we talked specifically about keywords. We're going to use those and apply those more in this lesson. So here's the first example. We have to first box the keywords that will tell us which inequality symbol to use. You must be over 12 years old to ride the go-karts. Over means has to be greater than 12. There's an unknown in this situation. We don't know what the age of the person is who wants to ride the go-karts. So that's going to be our variable. We're going to define the variable first. So I'm going to define it. A is going to equal the person's age. Now I can put the A and the inequality symbol and the 12 together to make an inequality. So I'm going to start with my unknown, A. Over means greater than, so that's the symbol I'm going to use, and then it has to be greater than 12. So that's the other side of my inequality. I'm going to do 3 more with you before you try some on your own. A pony is less than 14 2/10 hands tall. The keywords, box them, is less than. That means you're going to use the less than symbol. We don't know how tall the pony is. All we know is that it's less than 14.2. So to define our variable, we're going to call our variable P to represent the pony's height. Once we know the variable and we've identified which symbol is connected with this keyword, we put them all together. So we have P, the height, has to be less than 14.2. Notice I'm starting with the variable when I'm thinking about it, using the less than, and then putting the number. Now let's tackle the third one. You must be at least 16 years old to have a driver's license. The keyword is at least. You can refer back to your chart if you need to, but at least means greater than or equal to. So I'm going to put that symbol above it. The unknown is your age again, so I'm going to say A is age. In order to be able to drive, you need to at least be 16. Can you be 16? Yes. So that's why it's the greater than or equal to. So we're going to have our age has to be at least 16. That's the equal part of that, or greater. Last one I'm going to do with you before you try some on your own. The test will take no more than 60 minutes to complete. No more than means that it's going to not exceed that 60-minute time frame. So it's got to be 60 minutes will be the greatest number of minutes that you would have to spend on that test. So that is going to be less than or equal to. So we don't know how many minutes you're going to need to take for the test, so I'm going to call M our variable, standing for the minutes that you would need for this test, and that's not going to exceed, or it's not going to be greater than 60. M, the amount of time that you take for the test, is going to be less or equal to 60. Now there are 6 below. I'd like you to give them a try on your own first, and then you can resume when you're ready to check them with me. Here are the first 3 that I've done. I have boxed the keyword, defined the variables, and then used the number and the variable and the symbol to make an inequality. M has to be greater than 2 is the first one. The temperature one, I chose D for degrees. D is less than 48, meaning below 48 degrees. And Y is years for the third one. You have to be 11 or older, which means greater than. Here are the last 3. For number 4, I have Y equaling yards, and up to means that you can't go above 60, so it would be Y is less than or equal to 60. PG-13 movies is talking about your age is the variable here. Must be means you have to at least be 13. Those are synonyms. So I have A is greater than or equal to 13. Opening a checking account requires at least $25. At least means greater than. And we have our D is greater than 25. Now we're going to move over to the right where we're going to outline how to graph these inequalities on a number line. The first way that you could need to graph is dealing with greater than and less than. When you have an inequality that uses these 2 symbols, you need to use an open circle. And I want you to just draw a circle that's open in the center. So I'm going to draw a number line, a very quick one with only 3 little hash marks to show what X is greater than 3 would mean. So I'm going to put my 3 and my 4 and my 2 down. When we graph this, it's similar to our circles that we did on the front cover. We're going to draw a circle that is going to be on the number line above the number that we see in the inequality. So X has to be greater than 3. That means we could have any answer to the right. Any answer in this number line means that we're going to shade one side of the arrow or the other. If we're dealing with greater than, we have to shade to the right. Notice this arrow is getting a lot more dark. I shouldn't have to wonder with your pencil which side of the number line you are shading. I know I used 2 different colors. However, here's a trick. You see how this symbol points to the right? This side of the number line actually has the symbol, this is the greater than symbol, as the arrowhead. So that's kind of a check that you're going to have any answer that's to the right of the 3, but you have to have an open circle. So here we have the inequality, n is greater than 9. I'm going to put my numbers so that I have a 9 kind of in the center, doesn't have to be exact. And then I'm going to put my 8, 7, 6, and 5, and 4 on the left. Sometimes your number lines will be all filled in. Sometimes you'll have to put the numbers in yourself. Remember, the numbers go below the line. When we are graphing, remember, if we're dealing with greater than, it's an open circle. So we're going to put an open circle at 9, and we're going to shade to the right. So you should make a dark, heavy mark all the way along so I can easily see that any answer greater than 9 could be a solution to this inequality. Now we're going to do a less than. A is less than 15. Again, I'm going to put my 15 down first and then put my other numbers around it. You could choose to do a different scale as well. If you wanted to do it by 5s, that's fine as well. But the 15 should be on there somewhere. To graph, we're going to put an open circle at 15, at the number that's in the inequality, and then we're going to shade to the left or the right, whatever makes the statement true. You could actually pick a number, 12, and plop it in and see if it works. 12 is less than 15. So one of the answers is 12. If you plugged in a 17, it would not make the inequality true, which would then confirm that you have to shade to the left and make a really heavy dark line. And then you have to also shade in your arrow. That's important because number lines are just a piece of the entire number line. And you have to say that if we were to show 9, it still would be an answer to that inequality. We just ran out of room. So the arrowhead has to be shaded as well. Very important. So my number line has a -3 with an open circle on the number line, and then I have shaded to the right. Hopefully yours matches. Now we'll go on to the bottom half. When you have inequalities that use the less than or equal to or the greater than or equal to, we have to use a closed circle. A closed circle literally means the circle is filled in. So go ahead and draw that circle and fill it all the way in. So we're going to do this example on the right. We're going to make our own little number line here with just 3 hash marks with our 4 and our 3 and our 5. So when x is less than or equal to 4, 4 is an answer that works. Because of that, that's why we're closing in that circle. So we're going to draw a circle just like the 4, but when you see that line, you need to fill in the circle and then shade either to the right or left. Again, you can always pluck and plop to check. Is 3 less than or equal to 4? Yes, it is. So we're going to shade to the left. Notice this is the less than symbol. If you're using the less than symbol, you should be coloring in that side of the arrow. Y is greater than or equal to 7. We're going to fill in our numbers starting with 7. Above the 7, we're going to draw a circle. And because this is greater than or equal to, we're going to fill in the circle and then figure out which direction we're going. Y is greater than or equal to 7, so that means I have to shade to the right. Here's my greater than symbol. My arrowhead needs to be shaded in and a dark, heavy line. The second one for this section is P is less than or equal to 25. Again, we're going to fill in our scale. I'm going to choose by 5s, and I'm going to draw a circle above the 25 on the line. We're going to color it in. 25 is an answer to this inequality, and because P is less than 25, we're going to shade to the left. So all of my answers, including 25 and less, will be possible solutions to this inequality. Try the last one on your own. I know it's a bigger number. Give it a shot. So I know it was a tight squeeze. However, I have the number 985. I'm going to draw a closed circle above that number. And then I'm going to shade to the left because it is less than. And make a heavy mark, including the arrowhead. And that is how you graph inequalities. So we're going to be dealing with that and writing inequalities tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great night.